Today's program is brought to you by Vagabond Creative Studio and Grow with KLO. Kristin, good morning. Good morning, Coolest Coast. Welcome to Coffee with Kristin and Tina. How's it going, Kristin?
It's going okay. You guys, I'm on my phone today. My computer thinks it knows better than me and just started all over by itself last night. So here I am. I love the sound effects, Tina. They're so good.
Thanks. You know, toys that our kids have are sometimes quite awesome and amazing. So,
show everybody that. Let's see what that is.
I'm thinking of keeping this one for myself. Oh, let's see.
Love it.
It's a little like sound box and it has all these different options. So the one we'll probably hear the most on the Coffee with Kristin and Tina show is this one. Oh. Yeah, or this one.
I love it.
I do too. So how's everything going? We took last week off. We are back. We are refreshed. Thank you for joining us again today.
How was your time off, Tina?
It was amazing. It was fast, but it was amazing. We just went up north a little bit to Sturgeon Bay and Algoma, and this is what we saw. I mean, Wisconsin, where we live, is amazing. So this is Cave Point County Park, just north of Sturgeon Bay. Just beautiful.
That looks stunning. Now, the water looks like it was fairly calm the day that you were there. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it was pretty calm. And I didn't feel it, so I don't know if it was cold, but I imagine it was.
Sure. Doug and I were there over Labor Day, and the water, there was like 3 or 4 foot waves, and it was insane. Like the thundering from that water hitting into those caves underneath was crazy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
Very good. Okay, what else did you guys do?
This was my favorite part. We rode segways, and it was a really cool tour. The tour guide was interesting, really engaging, and it was all through Whitefish Dunes State Park and Cave Point County Park, and it was fun. I was actually a little worried. I thought, you know, I'd seen somebody try to learn once in Manitowoc, and it was super challenging for them. And I thought, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to do this? And it turns out it was easy and a breeze and really enjoyable.
So tell me, you are like the rock climber, you are the kayaker, you are the hike mountains in various countries girl. Why would you ever think that you would not be capable of that?
I know, right? Why is that? Why do we doubt ourselves?
Yeah, you're a rock star.
Thanks. But I think that's kind of like an ongoing issue that we're talking about here, right? Is believing in ourselves, giving ourselves credit for our capabilities, and going for it.
Right. I have a story for you guys for next week. I'll send Jason the pictures on that topic. But what was your favorite point or your big takeaway from your Segway tour?
You know, that I could do it, and I really want to do it again. But I think the best part, more than my enjoyment, was seeing the smile on my teenager's face.
That's so fun.
The smile on a teenager's face is kind of like spotting the Yeti, right? Like it's kind of few and far between. So to see his big smile as he was cruising along, I was like, yes, this is a success.
Yeah, we nailed it.
And I heard that they do a similar tour through Manitowoc. Like they start by the Maritime Museum and cruise down the Mariners Trail. So I definitely want to check that out.
I have heard that. Okay, if anybody who's watching has ever done that or knows information about it, please tell us, because I would really love to hear about what it's like and where does it all go.
Yeah, exactly. And any other adventures like that you've discovered and had maybe by yourself or with your family or with your friends, because we obviously I'm pointing the right way. We obviously love having cool adventures.
I know, it is fun.
I finished 2 books while we were on vacation. So that was just amazing to have time to read. I didn't get a chance to read the book that you recommended, but I do have a picture of it.
Okay.
So I definitely want to check this out. Did you want to say anything about this book?
Yeah. So Tina and I were texting a couple weeks ago just about different things, and this topic of what books have you read lately came up. This book is about 3 very young ladies who were in basically Jewish concentration camps. They all unfortunately lost their husbands, but they and basically denied their pregnancies, didn't tell anybody, and ended up having their babies while they were in camps and on trains, and just, I don't know. It's an incredible story. And eventually, I think it's 70 years later, the children of these three women eventually meet at a Holocaust reunion event, and they never knew there were other babies that survived the Holocaust. So they finally meet each other, not knowing that, their mothers were in some of the same camps and what have you. So it's not an easy read. I learned a lot about the Holocaust. I learned just so much about the conditions and what happened. And at points it was gut wrenching for me, just as a mother and having experienced pregnancy and all those things. Oh my gosh, there were times that it was hard to read what I was reading, but totally worth it. I highly recommend it.
Wow, that sounds powerful. I'm really looking forward to reading that. And viewers, we would love
Tina, I lost your audio. Where are you?
Oh no, can you hear me now? Viewers, we'd love to know what sort of book recommendations you have. What are you reading these days? What would you recommend people read? Let us know. But we are so excited today because we have a special guest, and I really admire this guest because she has mastered the combination of bringing her vocation and avocation magically together. So let's welcome to the show, Stephanie Carpenter. Stephanie, hello.
Hi, I'm glad to be here.
Welcome to Coffee with Kristin and Tina. Show us your coffee mug. What are you drinking this morning?
Tea.
Oh.
And tell us about the mug. That looks like a Hamilton mug.
No, it is a Hamilton mug. So we get them from Sunset Hill and Neenah. They're all hand thrown, so each one's a little bit different. And I just love them. They're so good. They're microwavable and easy to clean, which is great.
That's awesome. And for viewers who might not know, let's tell them about this amazing space that you're sitting in right now. Tell them about Hamilton Woodtype.
Yeah, so I'm the program officer at the Hamilton Woodtype and Printing Museum. We have the world's largest collection of wood type. So we're letterpress printers, which means we're this nice straddle of art and history, because it's how we communicated. It's how newspaper headlines were made and billboards and posters. And we're also now a space where people can make contemporary art, because you can use the wood type, and you can still use it even though it might have been made in 1910 to make posters and billboards, and it's 3D and you can touch it and it's backwards. Don't readjust your screens.
And Stephanie, is it in Two Rivers because that wood type was originally made in Two Rivers?
Yeah, that's exactly right. 1880, James Edward Hamilton started the factory. So we're right where it used to be made, right where it was started.
That is very cool.
So tell us, if somebody comes there, what is the experience like, and what are all the offerings?
Yeah, so I will tell you, we are closed right now just due to Corona. We cannot wait to reopen, but we give tours daily. You can come through when we're open, and you can do a self-guided tour, which is really great. We have panels with descriptions. We have guided tours once a day, which are done by these amazing docents that are volunteers, and some of them used to work at the Hamilton factory. That's a really exciting day when you get a Hamilton factory person. And we do workshops. So that's the really exciting thing, is the stuff is hands-on. You can touch it, you can play with it, you can make your own print. If you have something you want to say, you can do that.
Very good.
I'm putting the website up too, so people can learn more if they'd like.
Yes.
Stephanie, I think you have an example. You were showing me that sort of accordion folded where it's got an example of the printing. Let's show the viewers that.
So the fun thing about what I do, let's see if I can get this open. There we go. Is that I make work for work, things that actually are used here at the store. You can buy things in our store that we print at Hamilton. But I also make fun things that I just make for myself. And this was a big fun print exchange. And it was supposed to be about women who inspire you. And this woman, Susan O'Malley, makes work that's bright and colorful, and so I used that as inspiration for my piece. And so that's this idea that it was used to do newspapers, but now it's used to make fine art. So
I love that. I love that crossover. So I read something recently, Stephanie, that the reason we call letters uppercase when they're all capitalized or lowercase, it has to do with where the actual wood type was kept in the cases. Is that true?
Yeah, so let's see if I can get this right. Behind me is a cabinet, and each one of those drawers is called a case. And that's exactly right, because you use more lowercase letters than you do uppercase letters, especially in like a paragraph of type. And so you'd put the uppercase higher up and the lowercase would stay down below because it'd be easier to get. And then you'd reach up higher to get those uppercase letters.
That's amazing.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Right? So we're still like interacting with these things that it's not so far away, right?
Good. Stephanie, do you guys have any virtual offerings, or how can people engage with the museum even though you're closed right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. So weekly, I host a program on Zoom that people can interact with called Hamilton Hangs. And what we do is we visit virtually a letterpress print shop or a bookmaker or a sign painter all around the country. And we have an hour, and it's Zoom, so it's interactive. You can ask questions while it's happening. And it's really great. Some people do tours, some people show us their work, some people show us a process they like to make. And so what's really exciting is each week, even if you don't know who the person is, you can learn more about kind of something that's related to this art form of letterpress printing, kind of adjacent sometimes, which is really great.
Are there people still practicing this art around the world?
There are. And so both on the Hamilton Hangs and just in general, if you visit somewhere else, there are people in Switzerland and Italy and the UK and Australia. The one thing that's really great about Hamilton is that we're friends with all these people. Letterpress is an art form that is definitely not competitive. I mean, there are people, but for the most part, we want to share how we do what we do. And so it's this wonderful community of like teaching each other and sharing ideas and working together, which is really wonderful and something you don't always find every day.
I love it. Are they still making new wood type pieces, or is everything vintage?
Oh, that's a great question. So we're one of 3 places in the United States that makes wood type that you can actually still buy. And we're using the original pantograph machines that were used by Hamilton to make wood type. And we have individuals who were trained George Leash is she's our type cutter, and she was trained by her dad, Nor Brilski, and Mardell Dubeck, who made type at the Hamilton factory. So we have a 2nd generation type cutter, which is really exciting.
That is so cool. I had no idea. I did not know.
And my husband, David Carpenter, is also learning that process. So the idea is that it shouldn't only be with 1 or 2 or 3 people. We're trying to get more people to learn that process. A woman named Jen Ann is actually learning the entire process. We got a grant from the Wisconsin Arts Board, and she is spending time with George weekly to learn how to make wood type.
Wow. That is so cool. Stephanie, what, did you go to school, and what did your career, how did you get to where you are now?
Yeah. So both my undergraduate and graduate degrees are in graphic design. And I thought, I'll go to an agency or I'll work at a graphic design boutique, or I'll do something on the computer. But I went to Indiana University for my graduate degree and kind of fell in love and figured out that I thought, I'll learn more about the history of graphic design. But then I found out that I really like that graphic design, when it's in letterpress, you get to make a project from beginning to end. So from ideation to actually printing the project, you get to do the entire process, and it's all problem solving. Like if something's not working, it's probably because you can either see it in the print or the press is making a weird noise. So it's all hands-on. So it's this really beautiful kind of like problem solving that's very tactile.
And then is that how you ended up in the Manitowoc area?
Yeah. So my instructor, Paul Brown, would bring students up. We'd make the 7-hour trip from Bloomington, Indiana, a couple times a year. And then I started to come up even when Paul was not coming, because Jim Moran was the director, and he was the only staff member at Hamilton back then. I've been here 9 years now. And he would say, well, yeah, if you want to come up, we've got stuff to do. And so we'd make the trip. And then as soon as I graduated, I started working here. I think it was 2 weeks after I graduated. Like I graduated, I got married, I went to Venice, and then suddenly I was working here. And it was all very quick.
That's amazing. Well, the Coolest Coast is so fortunate that you had that love of graphic design and letterpress, and here you are.
Yeah. There's nowhere else in the country like it, that's for sure. It's a unique place.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about Ways Goose? What is that?
Yeah. So Ways Goose, other than just being a weird word, is our yearly conference. Historically, it was when the printers would throw a party at the end of a season, and they'd all get ready to work by candlelight. And now it's anytime you have a gathering of printers, it's called a Ways Goose. And at Hamilton, it's always the first or second week in November. And normally they all come to us, right? It's 250, 300 people come to Two Rivers, Wisconsin, and we talk letterpress printing and graphic design. There's presentations, there's workshops. And this year's a little different. We did go online, and we made that decision in May, because we didn't know what would happen. And now you can participate online. So if you follow that link, there are scholarships. In fact, the first time ever, we have community scholarships. So if you live in the Manitowoc Two Rivers area and you want to participate in Ways Goose, I highly recommend. It's a really, really short form because we are giving away some entries to Ways Goose. We thought we really want to support the community and let everyone, be a part.
That's fantastic. So is anybody welcome to join, or do they have to have some printing background or skills?
That's a great question. So the really wonderful thing I find about Ways Goose is we are going to talk about letterpress printing, graphic design, and wood type. So it's very nerdy. But if you're interested in it or intrigued by it, right, there's $50 is the regular fee. You can pay $125 and get a goodie bag. So who doesn't like a goodie bag? And there's a student rate at $35. So there's different levels you can participate at. But if you're intrigued by it, I highly recommend it. This is a great year to join us because in the comfort of your own home, you can see like, oh, are these my people? And So, because there's going to be scheduled events that are pre-recorded where you can see some really beautiful things about Hebrew wood type and about making wood type. And there's this really wide variety of things we're going to talk about. But we also have Zoom events so that you can interact with individuals from all around the world.
I love it.
That is so exciting. I've always heard about Hamilton, but I don't know that I had any idea that all of these things happened in the glorious small town of Two Rivers.
Yeah. Well, and even about a year and a half ago, we started doing things called drinking inks. And it was because people are like, I don't know that I'm not an artist, or they don't claim to be an artist. And so we want everyone to know that, no, you're welcome here. If you're interested in art or history or problem solving, there's something that might intrigue you. And the drinking inks were events that like, well, if you like to drink, you might also like to print. So that was our way to, it was like an invitation.
It's cool because then you end up with something tangible too, like that folded piece you were showing, or even a poster or a card. Very cool.
Yeah.
Right.
And Stephanie, you're not just an artist at work, you're an artist in your own right. Tell us a little bit about, Stephanie Carpenter.
Yeah. So I have to admit, it was interesting when you emailed and said, like, tell us about your hobbies. I was like, I letterpress print and I make books. So I do my hobbies tend to be what I also do at work. So that's really nice. I am a letterpress printer. So I do make work that's quite similar to what I do here at Hamilton. I will admit I'm part administrator at Hamilton. So, making conferences run and workshops go. But yeah, in my own personal work, it is letterpress printing, it's bookmaking, it's large installations. And it's this idea that we have something to say. And so exploring language and words, if you're going to take the time to put it down on paper, then have something to say, which is kind of important. So
I love that. It's like the magical combination of doing what you love and loving what you do. It's your work and your hobby. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like very few people get that kind of glorious moment where they're rightly placed and they are full of energy in all aspects of their work. And it sounds like you are.
Thanks. Yeah, I love what I do. And when we moved here 9 years ago, we found a wonderful community. Tina was part of that wonderful community, and I don't know you as much yet. So yeah. I'm also part of that community, Kristin. So it's this idea that we found a location that matched what we also love to do. My husband is a mural artist. And so finding a place that celebrates art and celebrates what we love is really exciting.
We should tell people a little bit about David, even though we're talking about you today. David is an amazing artist in his own right. And he just helped complete the community mural, right? The one that's on the side of Lakeside Foods, among many others. If you want to put in a few words
Yeah. Well, even the mural behind me, I may have voluntold him to. I said, "Ooh, we can paint a wall at Hamilton," and so he joined us and did that. So yeah, he did one at the library, on the 10th Street Bridge in Manitowoc. Ooh, there's one in Two Rivers that's all fish. It's next to the water treatment plant, but there you go out to the lake there. And it's amazing. He has a team of people. He always works with Aaron Levante and Becca Jabs, and again, that's part of that community. That it's not always one person. It takes all of us kind of coming together.
Yeah, we are so fortunate that they have dedicated their talents to beautifying, the cities around the Coolest Coast. It's amazing.
Well, on the side of Coolest Coast, they work with Jason on the wave, and so yeah, it's really wonderful.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I do love that one too. I love them all. Awesome. Kristin, anything else
Stephanie,
you want to talk about?
Yeah, I was just going to ask her, what's your favorite? So you've been here 9 years. What's your favorite thing about being in this area?
So I guess my only hobby would be my husband and I do walk on the beach weekly. So the lake, I come from Indiana, and we have a lot of corn and we have a lot of little lakes. But where I was at, we did not have Lake Michigan. And so I love that it changes all the time, and it's beautiful, and it's a really nice place to relax and get inspired for what I want to make.
Well, we are
That's
so
awesome
glad to have you here, Stephanie. You are really a great contribution to this community and just a delightful human being above all. So thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show. Oh my gosh, you know what, you guys? I forgot. I'm the producer today, and there's comments. Let me just take a look. Okay, here's a message from Mary. She says, love that art is being expressed in this community. It's so needed, especially at this time. The murals are so beautiful.
Isn't it a really wonderful way to kind of brighten up the space? Yeah.
Oh, here's one from Jason. Sounds like it would take a long time to make a paragraph. Did they do it by hand back in the day?
They did, yeah. So everything was set by hand until about 1880, and then a machine called a linotype allowed you to make lines of type, but still hand-set lines to print newspapers, which is kind of crazy. So we still do it hand-set here. We have metal type. This is very nerdy, but we have wood type because our name is Hamilton Woodtype. But we also have metal type, and we use it, but it's really tiny and finicky and really good for paragraphs.
Nice. Do you have a favorite font?
I do. As a graphic designer, it's like whatever font works for that project is the one that's best. But I really like what's called a Roman. It's really, really thick and really, really thins. And I think the contrast in the type is really beautiful. It's not used everywhere, but it works. And I love it. It's kind of Bodoni would be one people might kind of know.
Nice. Do you prefer serif, sans serif?
It again depends on the project, but that one has beautiful thin serifs that are kind of romantic and beautiful. so yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Very nice. Oh, here is a really nice comment for you, Stephanie. She is delightful, says Nikki.
I'll take it.
And I think we all agree here. Awesome. Well, Stephanie, thank you so much for taking the time. Folks, thank you so much for watching and contributing. We really appreciate you being here. This concludes today's episode of Coffee with Kristin and Tina, and we will look forward to seeing you next time. Take care, everyone.
Thanks,
Stephanie.